Well, those are not the only issues that Parliament will take note of. Another issue which may trigger debate and disruption in the monsoon session is the issue of cow vigilantism. In a strongly worded judgment on the issue, the Supreme Court has said, and I quote, "People cannot be allowed to take law into their own hands," unquote. The court has also recommended a slew of measures, including the Parliament legislating on the issue and prescribing punitive action. Ashmit, who was tracking that, joins us now with more. Ashmit, a scathing indictment of the performance, not just of the central government, but individual state governments as well there. Take us through the highlights of the Supreme Court order.
Indeed, taking nothing away from that, it is a very strongly worded order. In terms of takeaways, perhaps, what strikes first is perhaps the recommendation, the suggestion that has been given to the Parliament to come out with a legislative framework as far as dealing with mob violence is concerned, and also perhaps advising some punitive form of action. But again, as far as the substance of the order itself is concerned, it is an indictment of status quo. It goes on to say that people cannot be allowed to take law into their own hands, that the secular fabric, the quintessentially secular fabric, needs to be protected, that as far as current status quo is concerned, it cannot be allowed to become a new normal, and that it's worrying how people are becoming numb to such outbreaks of violence. In terms of measures that have been recommended, it includes appointment of a nodal officer, stronger enforcement of current laws, compensation schemes, fast-track courts. So that's broadly the gist here. But as far as the judgment itself is concerned, it has been authored by Justice Mishra himself. And as always, it makes for an interesting reading. He's known to be very generous with his use of words. In fact, some sentences run into as many as 60 words. And let's bring to our viewers some of the excerpts from that very same judgment. As a part of that judgment, Justice Mishra records where he says that they forgot that the administration of law is conferred on the law enforcing agencies, and no one is allowed to take law into his or her own hands on the fancy of his shallow spirit of judgment. He also goes on to say that no citizen can assault the human dignity of another, for such an action would comatose the majesty of law. And finally, he also adds that commencing from legal space of democratic Athens till the legal system of modern societies today, the lawmakers try to prevent crimes and make the people aware of the same, but some persons who develop masterly skills to transgress the law jostle in the streets. So clearly, Justice Mishra has not lost his proclivity for verbosity.
No, he clearly